Welcome to our daily Forex market analysis, and this is for trading on March 10th, 2020. Just a quick disclaimer here before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. As usual, we'll start off by taking a look at our calendar here. All right, so overall, in terms of the market, what happened in the market, it was quite a scary place in the market, especially in the stock markets and oil markets. We saw a huge drop in oil, first of all, and that happened because Russia refused to cut production. Not only that, they actually said they are going to increase production because the oil price had dropped. And in response to that, Saudi prince essentially declared price war, and they are going to increase production too. So, and they're not going to cut production. Instead, they will increase production. So overall, oil just dropped. And then we had concerns in the market in regards to the spreading of the coronavirus. We saw northern Italy was shut down yesterday or over the weekend. Now all of Italy is being restricted. There are lots of travel restrictions being put in place. So if somebody wants to travel to different part of the country, they would actually have to show that they have a major reason, either for work or health related reason in order to travel. So overall, we are seeing a lot of panic in the market in regards to the spread of coronavirus. A number of countries around the world have shut down the schools, and people are being asked to, or the kids are staying at home. So overall, a lot of panic going on in the market. So let's take a look at what kind of news we have coming up here. At 7 p.m. or this in the Asian session here, we have business confidence numbers out of Australia. So if they drop, we could see a negative impact on Australian dollar. And then we have Reserve Bank of New Zealand Governor Orr speaking. So this one could be important depending on what we hear from RBA, or sorry, Reserve Bank of New Zealand. They are open to cutting rates. So if we see an interest rate cut, like we saw with the US, that would cause New Zealand dollar to drop, or we may hear more comments in regards to Reserve Bank of New Zealand being prepared to further cut rates or provide support to the market. So all of those things will be negative for New Zealand dollar. But if they say, we'll just wait and see how things work out, and in that case, that will actually be positive for New Zealand dollar. So that's for today. Coming up on Tuesday here, we don't have any red data here. We have industrial production numbers out of Eurozone and nothing really out of US, just the small business index numbers. So let's move on to our charts now. We'll start off with euro dollar. All right, so euro dollar here, we saw a big jump up in euro. So over the last little while here, euro has been going up. And the main reason for euro going up here is the carry trade unwinding. So with the euro here, a lot of the big institutions and traders, they were borrowing money in euros and actually investing in the United States because of the interest rate differential. So you can borrow at almost zero and invest it in the US at much higher rate. And especially if they are investing in the stock market, the returns were quite large. But with the markets dropping in the US, and we have seen US cutting rates. So when the US cuts rates, there's really no incentive or not much of a difference, because now we are expecting the US to cut rates even further. So that money is now flowing out of the US dollars and flowing into the euros. That's why there's all this buying in the euros that's causing the euro to go back up. So this is, so that's what we have seen so far here. We saw a big move up over in euro over the weekend. And now if we take a look at it, we are into these levels that we haven't seen since December of 2018, and we have a large pin here, so we may get a drop here, so I would keep an eye out for that. So here, let's take a look. In terms of our levels to watch here, 1.140 is the first level, and then we could maybe even get a pullback into 1.1350. But we'll have to see how price reacts at this level, 1.114. If it holds above, then we could see another move higher, but looks like it's pushing lower here, so we may see a continuation all the way into 1.1350. So the move here, we may get that move unwind, basically the move that happened yesterday. We may see a reverse of that, so watch out for that. In this case, I am not really bearish on it. I'm just neutral on it to see how price will behave here. So we just have to wait and see. For pound here, we did see price go into our resistance level now, and there's a large pin on the top, so I would expect British pound to drop here right in from the resistance, and looks like it's holding below the resistance, so I'm looking for it to drop further here. Bias is to the downside. First target is 1.30, and then below that we're looking at 1.2880, so bias is bearish for pound dollar. Aussie dollar here, we saw a huge move in both directions here. Huge drop right when the market opened, and then it pulled back all the way. And now, if the price holds below 0.6600, I will look for price to drop. And the first target here would be 0.6540. And then we could see a move back into 0.6460. So overall bias here for Aussie dollar is bearish. New Zealand dollar, this one has gone in both directions here. Crazy move for New Zealand. We haven't seen this big a move in a long time. So here we see that price is into resistance here. This is where price has struggled at this level, 0.6370. So around this level is where all the struggle has been. So if price holds below this level, then I would look for price to come back down here. So in terms of our target, so my bias is neutral there, but as long as it holds below 0.6370, I would look for a drop back into 0.6280. So bias is neutral here, but if it, like I said, if it stays below, I'm looking for a drop. Dollar CAD here, huge move up in dollar CAD. Like we talked about this on the weekend here, because the oil dropped, Canadian dollar went right with it, and this is where US dollar has actually done better against the Canadian dollar. So of the major, US dollar has done better only against the Canadian dollar, nothing else. So at this point, we have a huge move to the upside here. And in terms of where our levels are, so all of these crazy moves do tend to get they tend to unwind. So watch out for reversals and stuff here, but I wouldn't go too into the reversals at this point, because price could pull back and then continue on, and that's something we have to watch out for here. So right now I will look for a move back into 1.3620 level here, and if it holds above that level, then we can see another continuation move to the upside. But for now, my bias for dollar CAD is neutral. So if oil price keeps dropping, we could see dollar CAD go back up again. Silver here. So silver looks bearish. We could see a further move to the downside, so watch out for that. But if it gets stuck here, because it's into support level here, so if it gets stuck above 16.85, this one could go higher. But right now, this one looks bearish. First target is 16.55, and then we could see it come back into 16.35 here. So bearish bias for silver. Gold here, gold has dropped. It went up and then has dropped, so now it's coming back down. The first target here would be 1655, and then below that we have 1635. So bias is bearish for gold as well. Oil, huge drop in oil price, just kept on going, and it went even under $30 here, all the way into 27.80. So now it's pulling back. Looks like markets are just pulling back across the board here. At this point, I would look for a pullback potentially into this 36 area. So if it holds below 36, we could see another move to the downside. But if it continues, then we have 30, we have 40, and then 42. So we'll have to see. But with oil, the problem is the increased production or the lack of cuts from Russia and Saudi Arabia. So if they continue to be at war in terms of price war over oil, we could see oil drop further after it pulls back. So keep an eye on that. Copper here, copper dropped all the way below our range here. It's been trading in this range for quite some time, but it's moved back up since then. And at this time, it's pulling back. And the target here for first target for pullback is 2.48. And then above that, we have 2.45. So those are the two levels to watch. So with copper here, if it holds below 2.48, this one could go back down. So looking for pullback here as well. Bitcoin dropped a lot over the weekend here, all the way into 76.30, and it seems to be finding support here. We'll have to see if it can continue on higher. So we could see it come back into 81.70 level or even into 82.20 area. So I would keep an eye on it to see if it makes that move to the upside. But if it gets stuck here, we could see it continue to drop. So another level to watch. If it gets stuck between below 8,000, this one could come back down. So watch out for that. S&P 500, a huge drop here. The trading was halted during the day, and as we can see, price is pulling back at this point. So I am looking at 28.20. So that's the first pullback level. If price holds below this, it can make another move, push to the downside. So watch out this level, because this is an important support resistance level. And if it goes through it, then we could see it go into 28.80 and then potentially all the way into 29.50. So keep an eye on 28.20. If it holds below here, then we could see another push to the downside like that. So right now we're getting pullbacks. So Nasdaq as well pulling back strongly here at this point. It's already into the first pullback level, 81.20, and now if it goes through that, we're looking at 8,300 as the second pullback, and then all the way into where it started at 8,500. Now, should it get stuck where it is, if it holds below 81.20, I will look for another move to the downside. But for now, we just need to wait and see how far it wants to pull back. And then we have Dow Jones here. This one dropped a fair bit here as well. And this one is pulling back as well at this point. And it is into the first pullback level of 24,380. Now, if it holds below this, this can again drop, but should it go through, next level is 25,000. So I will look for price to go all the way back up. A lot of these moves, the big moves that happen in the market, do tend to reverse. So that's something we need to keep in mind. And then we have DAX, huge move down in DAX as well. So with this one, I will look for a pullback into 11,000 and then 11,250. Those will be the two pullback levels to watch for DAX. FTSE, again, huge move to the downside. For this one, I'm looking at 6,500 as the first pullback level and 6,250 as the second pullback level. And last but not least here, we have Nikkei. Nikkei is pulling back as well. It did drop with all the others here. And now we're seeing a pullback into 19,400, which is the support and resistance area. So if it gets stuck below this, we could see another move to the downside, but should it go through, we're looking at 20,000 as the next target here. So we'll keep an eye on that. So overall, it's just the concerns around the coronavirus and the disruption in supply chains, because a lot of factories and manufacturing plants have been shut down, especially in China. But China is now opening the work and everything back up again. So that should cause an increase in production. But with it spreading into other countries here, there has been a lot of concern around that. So keep an eye on how that plays out in terms of the coronavirus. If the fears come into the market, then we could see another move to the downside. So right now we have seen Italy take or have huge travel restrictions. We haven't seen that. So Saudi has cut down, they have stopped the flights from multiple different countries, but we haven't really seen any other country put that into place except for China here. But China is now relaxing its restrictions as they're seeing a drop in the new coronavirus cases. So if other countries have to do any kind of travel restrictions like Italy is doing, then we are going to see another or more panic in the market. So watch out for that. So that's it for today. Have a wonderful trading day, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.